Did you know Jesus gave a formula for forgiving others? So, how many times do you have to forgive someone? Well, Jesus said, forgive a lot. Good morning, and welcome to 755 Live. For about 5 minutes, you'll hear all about easy to remember soundbite versions of what Jesus said. And the point is to help you experience life to the fullest, the Jesus way. Today's Jesus Said comes from Matthew 18:21 through 22, and we'll be reading today from the NET translation. Then Peter came to him and said, Lord, how many times must I forgive my brother who sins against me? As many as 7 times? And Jesus said to him, not 7 times, I tell you, but 77 times. Now, this is part of the forgiveness formula that Jesus gave here in Matthew 18. There are 3 steps. First, you're supposed to go to the person. Next, bring somebody with you. And if that doesn't work, then bring it before the church. And Peter, after hearing that, he says, how many times do I have to do that? How many times do I have to forgive? And if we don't follow the recipe, we're going to get different results. And most conflicts in our culture today are not resolved because it's too easy to disconnect. And if we don't follow the formula, and this is the formula for those who are believers, the formula only works if you're a part of a church. But if we don't follow the formula, we're not going to get the same results. And Peter was looking for an out because sometimes it's not easy to forgive. He says, how many times? 77 times, or some translations say 70 times 7. This is kind of an idiom that means an unlimited number of times. And he's asking, when can I give up? When is it okay to be angry? Many times we justify our anger. James 1:20 reminds us that human anger does not accomplish God's righteousness. That's pretty specific, and it doesn't have this righteous indignation exception clause. Paul in Romans 12 goes into detail about what God's righteousness looks like as we respond to evil or conflict. Verse 17, he says, do not repay anyone evil for evil. Consider what is good before all people. If possible, as far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all people. Do not avenge yourselves, dear friends, but give place to God's wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord. Now that's a quote from Deuteronomy 32:5. Then verse 20, rather, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him a drink. For in doing this, you will be heaping burning coals on his head. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. You see, forgiveness isn't giving up or letting someone off the hook. It's also not just walking away without settling things. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to go through this process with someone who is not a part of your believer family. But when you are in relationship with other believers, that's where this formula comes into play. And if you just walk away without settling things, those unresolved heart issues will follow you. Not the person you walked away from without the process. Forgiveness is the only place where we find our peace and our joy. And it's where we let God do his job by not trying to do it for him. You see, Paul reminds us that, vengeance is God's. And if we let God do his job, he is much better at dealing with conflict and consequences than we are. So what is our job? Our job is to obey and follow the forgiveness formula that Jesus gave us. And how many times do you forgive? Well, the soundbite today is forgive a lot, because Jesus said 70 times 7, 77 times, as many as it takes. Rinse and repeat. Forgive. let it go and let God handle it. Because Jesus said, forgive a lot. How can you put that into action today? Thank you so much for listening. If this is meaningful to you, it really means a lot when you like it, when you share it, when you comment. I really appreciate you. I hope that you have an amazing day. And I hope this time together has helped you live life to the fullest, the Jesus way. And remember, follow Jesus today. Love first.